Previously on Dungeons and Designers. All he's going through right now is just like rapid firing, like giving you all this information because like he knows in how deep you are. And he's just trying to get you guys caught up. The gnomes are probably even more freaked out because they're not adventurers, right?
Like running around like
Yeah, and you can see like the mechanic maybe has like some sort of weapon, like a gun, but like medic has nothing. The captain doesn't like know what he's doing. And as all this happening, you hear on like the bottom airlock something lock onto your door. And Ronag like swipes away at the table, and all around you on like the table, you see little ships kind of circling your ship. And there's one like attached to your ship now.
It's good. It's good stuff. Like
Too
that.
late to camouflage. Yeah.
So you guys are surrounded at this point. Your ship is stuck. The deep dragon is probably still, hundreds of feet away. I would kind of compare it to like size comparison. This is going to kind of go against what I said earlier, but I think it's more accurate. I would like if you're in the Millennium Falcon, they're a Star Destroyer. It's kind of that scale where they could if they wanted bring your ship on board. And
because we're about 300 feet long,
right?
So they're probably like 18 to 2,400 feet.
Yeah, and where like you could where Lathander's Ring would have like a state's worth of people, Deep Dragon probably has a city's worth of people. If that kind of makes more sense scale wise.
Yeah.
I think I put myself in a corner by giving your ship feet. So we're going to talk a little bit more generic, maybe about population amounts rather to describe scale. Because I've been like doing the math on that. I was like, no, this makes sense.
The Millennium Falcon to a Star Destroyer makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Nerds.
So yeah, your ship is surrounded. You hear this thing lock onto your airlock, which is Dan. If you're upstairs now, right, with Elisar?
I'm popping in it.
Okay. Where it locks on is fairly close to that big storage unit, so you would actually hear it much more down there. Of this this machine kind of latching onto the ship and then creating a seal to your door.
The storage door? Or the airlock door?
The airlock door.
Okay.
Which is kind of like right above.
Because letting Craig loose by accident could turn this real bad for us real fast.
I'll pop my head out and be like, are you guys hearing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Come look at this.
Yeah, Roger. I keep calling Roger because I played the droid as Roger.
Roger.
Ronag is like, yeah, you should really get up here. And as he says that, you can hear the airlock forced open. And you instantly realize, like, even though all the ship is locked down, they're figuring out how to get on board no matter what. I don't think it sounds like they're destroying it. It's probably more like they hacked your ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear the clanking of metal on metal beneath the living space, right? Because that's how this ship works. The airlock is right beneath living space.
Blake is going to try to unhook the GPS unit from the map.
Sure. What I would say is it's not hooked up to the map, right? They manually input it, but you could definitely take it and do whatever you want with it.
So she has it now.
Yeah. When you were saying you wanted to take it, were you trying to wipe it too from the table so that they can't see it?
No, I think she's going to want to. She knows they're going to have questions. Yeah. And since that's their tech, getting ahead of that feels like a good choice instead of letting them find it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So you hear the metal legs or the metal clanking below. And then all of a sudden, the elevator that is supposed to be up lowers into the air chamber, airlock. And I don't think any of you are in the living space currently, right? Dan, you're moving around, but I think most of you guys were in the bridge.
Yeah.
But what you would see if you were looking in there is 3 or 4 very military-looking drow men. very similar to, you remember there was like one military guy and one magic caster from before? It now looks like 4 of those, which when you guys looked at the table, you would instantly know that these guys are the militant Murlockers, which is kind of like the 4th level of power in this gang. So you see them all kind of like zip line up or like grapple hook to your ceiling and not even to wait on the elevator at all. They're like all up now in your living space with rifles drawn, and they start clearing. 2 of them enter and go right to the back, and 2 of them go to the bridge, and you hear them all start screaming like, get down, all with rifles drawn at you.
Is anybody down by me?
Not yet.
I start coming up with, but I like very much, I'm like hooded up, trying to cover up, so you know. And I'm like, this is what you want. We have their stuff. I just kind of like plop them over the hole, like the entrance. So I'm coming up the ladder.
Okay, so you throw up.
I'm just like, I'm like, here you go. Like,
yeah, and you see one of the drow, abnormally large, right? Very like looks like military bro type style. And as you're coming up, he like picks you up and like throws you towards the bridge, and then like sees like the bowl you kind of threw up and like kicks that to the side, and then starts heading back into the engineering bay and gets those 2 gnomes and starts kind of like pushing them towards the bridge. Wick and Peg, what are you doing with their guns drawn on you?
So Wick drops to her knees when they can like tell her to.
Yeah, I don't want to
kind of set the GPS in front of her, puts her hands behind her head, and be like, look, here, it's how we found you.
Yeah.
I'd like to speak to one of the daughters, please. And then she stops talking.
Yeah. And they're like, they hear you, but they're not even going to like answer. They're going to pick up the GPS, put it in their pockets, and make sure like you, not only that you're on your knees, but they're going to push you into the ground, like make sure like you're laying on your belly. Ronag and the droid are both already like splayed out. I think maybe they were already splayed out before they got up. Yeah. Gnomes are quickly dropping, and what you hear in the living space, so everyone, including Elisar, are now like in the bridge. What you hear from the living space is the elevator start rising, right? The thing that you guys all use to get in from the airlock. And you hear like the metal clanking of across the living space. And you watch as one of the matron mothers in her like metal armor and metal legs enter, and then one of the soldiers like hands the little GPS coordinates thing, and she like very angrily starts to talk to you guys, and she's like, "Where did you get this?"
I'll persuasion roll to try to curry her favor as I explain. Kind of the story where they came.
Yeah, let's see the persuasion.
22.
Okay. What I'll say is, whatever you say will come off like you mean it to, but you're not going to be able to like sway them from being angry, right?
More not persuade to like for the intention for them to
right
like, not believe we're trying to deceive them.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're not going to sway how they think of you, but they'll understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are you going to do with that role? What are you going to say?
Isn't that all anybody really wants?
Well, yeah. Honest. No, I explained to them that that I had known them from Lathander's Ring and interact with them, and I tell them like a real quick spiel, like we chased them over to this place, we found this wolf spider guy, and then like went there and we found their remains in this god's arena area. Right? That's remembering correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the Demon Lord, and all the things you're saying, she knows of their mission, and you're the way you're coming across is like we finished it. I don't know how much she believes that you kind of just found their dead bodies, because that would mean that she'd have to admit that they could be killed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I think she also would not give you the credit for killing them.
Well, I didn't say no. I didn't say like I didn't say they found their remains. Like I meant their stuff. Like because when we showed up, there wasn't dead bodies.
Yeah, there's dead bodies.
Oh, there was?
Yeah. But it's
I actually never went in that room.
Sure, yeah.
So as far as I know, it was just stuff.
We brought their bodies out to be buried, didn't we?
No.
To be eaten by the other
that's
spiders.
right. We left them. Yeah.
For the puppies.
Yes.
Yeah, and as she's saying all this, I think maybe almost angrier at the fact that she shouldn't be angry at you. I think it's like a weird emotion she's feeling right now. She's like, "Why did you come here then?"
Wix.
Yeah, go for it.
Wick just said, like, on the ground, not turning to look, not moving at all. Just says, "I spoke to Karen Solie," and then stops talking again.
Yeah, and maybe now there's like the 4 soldiers in here, kind of spread out across the room, kind of like taking corners. And she's like, "Right, but why are you here?"
We just plugged the GPS. We just wanted to see where their next move was so we could tell someone we spoke to the goddess.
Yeah, and I think she starts to believe you, and she believes the half drow, even though that's like definitely a lesser position in their culture, the same as all of you. She's like, out of frustration, she's like, "We're gonna have to deal with this more." And she's like, "Your ship is already being brought into the Deep Dragon. We're gonna have you come on board, and we're gonna deal with this." And at that time, you see like all 4 soldiers take out like handcuff like bindings and start. They're like binding all the gnomes and Ronag and the droid, even though the droid is a droid. And then they're gonna come try to like handcuff all of you guys as well.
I immediately just like
Okay.
put my hands out, like, just take me.
Yeah, I kind of mouthed to the gnomes nearest to me, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
They were so antsy, and now we're immediately getting arrested.
Yeah, no resistance. I'm still on the ground.
Yeah.
My hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's probably many minutes of stress that have passed. And you guys are now inside the Deep Dragon. You can tell because from the bridge where you saw space, all of a sudden you saw lights and then the hangar. And over the bridge, you can see the long neck of the ship with that head shape of like the dragon kind of looming over you. And as you're pulled in, everything is locked down. And I think what you can see around you are lots of like individual ships. Like you are now in their hangar.
Okay.
As your ship sails down, you see other ships kind of flying back in, the ones that were circling you prior. And they're going to start ushering you out into like the airlock and like bringing you onto their ship.
How did we get in? Was it through the mouth?
No, it's like in the chest. Very similar to how very similar how your ship does it. It's got like the bridge out top, and then there's 2 doors kind of in the center beneath. Theirs is very similar, but like on a grander scale. And you came in like one hangar, but there's like probably multiple levels of hangars, right? Because of the scale and the needs. You're in kind of like the military. So there's probably...
They pulled the ship in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're in their hangar.
Yeah.
In the chest area.
Yeah, and as you guys like look out and start getting like shuffled out, you can see dozens of other soldiers out in the hangar. And there's that really cool kind of like bluish energy keeping space out without the need of a door. I don't know how they quantify that with science, but it's so cool. So yeah, you see that kind of come in. And as they start ushering you out, more soldiers come up to you and then start separating you guys into different groups, primarily like the gnomes and then you guys, because they don't have any kind of use for the gnomes. And like the gnomes haven't really been like participating in discussions. They're way more interested in you. So as they do all this, like they're guiding you through the hangar and you go into like a holding bay. Each of you are going to be put in your individual like kind of cells. So you can't see each other, but you know where you are. And then the gnomes are being put in like a different set of cells. Okay. At this point, you see a like a mechanic engineer drow go over to the droid and just like turn him off. And he's like, doesn't need to deal with that anymore. He kind of puts it to the side. And Ronag is going to be in one of the cells kind of near you guys as well. And for this moment, and for the foreseeable future, you guys are going to kind of just be like in these cells alone. So is there anything you want to do before we kind of fast forward to when they want to deal with you guys?
Where'd they take Craig?
You didn't see Craig come out at all?
He's just on his own ship by himself.
Yeah, that's what you would assume, like they just didn't care about him or something. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to invent a more complicated system of tic-tac-toe that I can play by myself by scratching into the wall in the jail. Immediately got like really bored by being stuck in there.
Yeah, did they take away our possessions? Like our bags and things?
So I don't think you would have had any of that on you, right? I don't think when you're on a ship, you're not kind of... If you want to have taken a weapon as the
always geared up, you know?
Get my shiv. Yeah.
If you're like, yeah, I went and got my staff before they came on board, they would have definitely taken that away from you.
Yeah. LSR is quickly gaining this like internal reputation of like doing time and like being like, you know, like I'm hard now.
Sounds like Ronag is too.
Yeah.
How many people can I sense in the hallway are in cells near us?
So cells near you, it's definitely your whole crew. How many feet can you go?
100 feet.
Okay, yeah, I would say you might not be able to sense the drow because they might be too far, but you can sense other kind of prisoners, right? You guys aren't the only people they have on the ship right now. You don't know their identity or why they're here, but you can tell like there's a lot more of these cell type structures.
So the other two are within 60 feet of me, which she can sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to open a communication channel with LSR and Peg.
Okay.
And they just have to.
You get 4
they just
of
have to
those
be
a day?
willing. I get 4 of those a day. This counts as 1. So.
Okay, it's not 1 per person.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
He gets 4 communications.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't know does it even specify?
It says it can be 2-way, but the other party must be willing to communicate.
Yeah, it's a 2-way, so that would count as 2.
You can have more than 1 active contact at once, but you must establish contact with each. So each one is 2 actions. So it does use 2 of my charges.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So as long as you guys are down with that, we can communicate.
Does
with each
Alisar
other.
just hang up?
Well, it's like, what would it be? Yeah, what is it like a phone
ring,
call?
ring, ring, ring.
Like,
Ring.
You hear like me. Hello.
I'd be like, what the F is going on?
Is this thing working?
I don't know what this thing is. Is that Wick?
Yeah, this is Wig. Is this LSR?
Yeah. Are you trying to play my new game that I just invented?
Yeah. Tic-tac-toe?
It's a
I
lot
think she
more
can like
complicated
she can like
tic-tac-toe.
see the in his aura that she senses there's like X's and O's going back and forth and stuff.
I don't think you'll understand. It's fine.
hold on.
What do you need?
Hold on 1 second. And then Peg, if you're down with it, you just hear like hello?
Was that? I didn't.
Hey,
Am I already going insane?
Peg? No, hello? No, this is Wick.
Oh.
Do I sound
Oh.
different?
Do you
Maybe
have, like,
it's because
Yeah.
this isn't really the voice box. You're kind of hearing my head. So maybe this sounds different than I usually do.
Interesting.
Can you
Who
hear
is that?
LSR? You guys should be able to hear each other.
Hello. Nope.
It's 2-way. It's 2-way.
Yeah, it is 2 ways.
It's
Yeah.
2-way.
But I'm talking to LSR also. He's inventing this really cool game. I can't wait till we're all back on the ship and we can play it together like on the virtual board. It's going to be a blast. Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm just sitting in the corner
Okay.
drawing.
It'll be okay. I think we're gonna get out of this soon. I'm gonna talk to LSR real quick and see if he recognizes anything. Maybe it's a drow thing that we just don't understand.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, LSR,
Yeah. What's up?
it's Wick again. Just wanted to check in. I know this is like a drow ship and it's kind of your whole deal. Do you recognize maybe any way we can? I don't know if we even want to try to escape. How are you holding up?
I mean, I don't know about escaping. It seems like it's pretty locked down. I actually have no clue where we are or what's going on here. I spent, obviously my entire life on the Lathander's Ring. But what I do know,
Same.
These are some hardened criminals in here, probably. I think we're getting a lot of shred right now, and I think that's okay. So I think it's, there's a benefit.
So tell me more about that tic-tac-toe game, and then we probably just fade out while he camera pulls out. So
just ad nauseum explains, but it's just in circles. Nothing actually makes sense, and keeps interrupting himself to explain another portion of the game.
Sounds like by DMing.
Yeah.
Oh, self-burn.
No.
Hey, a little bit meta role playing. Zach, what does Wick sound like when talking telepathically and not limited by her voice?
It's a higher pitch than definitely my voice.
Sure.
It's a lot softer too.
Okay.
I think it's what she envisions herself wanting to be, as welcoming and warm.
Sure.
So yeah.
So I'd say at this point, they're going to kind of sweat you out. So there are meals coming, a couple times a day of just garbage level food, but at least it's food, right? You can assume they're taking care of everyone else at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
So with the mental contact, it lasts for 10 minutes.
Okay.
So she keeps dropping out on you guys. But as we're there on days, it recharges each day. So imagine certain times of the day she comes in maybe twice.
Yeah.
And then drops out again.
And then I don't know how well you guys can tell time, right? There's no windows. So it's almost like solitary confinement, but you do have these little conversations that you're having with Wick, which might be nice, right? It might keep you from breaking. Ronag, on the other hand, who knows?
Did you guys ever watch Avatar, The Last Airbender?
Of course.
Uh-huh.
You know how Uncle Iroh just pretends to be fading in jail, but just gets more and more ripped because he's been in there. That's what I imagine Ronag's doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with his one metal arm.
Yeah,
that's what Elisar thinks he's doing, but it's still just going slowly and slowly more into madness as he thinks he's constantly upper handing himself in this game that makes no sense at all.
And at this point, it's 3D chess because you have to rotate it and.
So maybe the third or fourth day, there'll be soldiers that come to each of your doors and open it, and they'll be like, "Get yourselves together and come with us."
Yeah, we left most of our stuff on the ship.
Yeah,
we did.
It's just you and maybe you and your filth at this point, right? Because it's multiple days of just sitting in these cells.
We had a bucket at least, right?
We did
Oh, you got those little tiny toilets. Yeah, toilet for sure.
Oh, I like my paw and try to slick my hair back. At the very least.
Sure, maybe the Tabaxi's the only clean one.
Yeah.
I am fully in my natural habitat as being a trash elf, so I'm perfectly fine.
Which is probably horribly insulting to the actual drow.
Yeah, I would assume in the speaking with Wick at times, I was excited about the food and being like, "This is just like home, right? You're from Lathander's Ring." Yeah, you're like, "Sure, bud."
No, it's puffy green bread. It's everything I've always wanted.
So as they usher you out, you see Ronag also kind of coming out, and still they handcuff all of you again, and they walk you down this very cold metal hallway, which then eventually leads into a nicer part, and you start entering this giant hallway, and you guys are still bound and attached to each other, and you each have a guard with you. But as you enter in, the cold metal turns into more of a polished black surface. So as you see in this bigger hallway, there's a bunch more drow of totally different levels, right? There are just normal people living. You see mechanics and engineers, as well as custodial. These custodial type are definitely lower, and you might even see non-drow elves doing this type of work. Right? There is a group of the lessers, which you guys have been called many times. So you might see dwarves even on this ship doing that kind of custodial garbage type work. As they bring you through these very futuristic-y sci-fi hallways of reflective black surfaces, You guys walk what feels like quite a while, right? You're going from hangar. Maybe you guys can tell you're like going towards the bridge. So like over your ship, there are multiple levels that you guys have traveled through elevators. And as you get towards the bridge, there is a kind of conference room with like a giant table and these giant metal, very geometric thrones almost around them, with a altar of purple fire in the middle of it. And what you see around the table are maybe like 4 to 5 female drows, all with those metallic legs, kind of folded up together over the edge of the chair. And then in the center of those, so let's say like 4 of those, and then the center is a female drow without them. But her chair is much bigger, and you can instantly tell that she's like the boss that they were talking about on the ship not 3 days ago. And they're instantly going to just start questioning you again. You guys are kind of on the opposite side of the table, still handcuffed, each with a guard pointing like a gun at you, with all 4 of the females kind of starting to question you of like, why are you guys here?
Small detail. Does the
Go for it.
big lady have like organic legs that are spidery?
No, so she actually has no leg. Like she just has normal legs. No. So the matron mothers all have these kind of spider legs, but the Lerolyn Adaragon, she doesn't. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's like her way of showing superiority, of keeping her drowness complete. Her clothes though are much more ornate. So like even if you guys don't understand the culture here, you can tell like she's in the center, she's in a bigger throne, she's dressed nicer. She's got a lot of like that spider kind of jewelry. And so the matron mothers are the ones speaking to you as well. She's not. So yeah, the first matron mother is just like, why are you guys here?
We found this GPS thing. We gave it to you guys before you had
yeah,
it.
And one of the ones that's all talking to you has it.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. Exactly that thing. And I don't know, we saw a blip. We were a little bored. We didn't really know what's going on. And here we are.
Yeah, and she looks around.
We're just shrugging.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go back to the beginning. See, one day I was living on this place called Lathander's Ring on the 4th ring. It was pretty crazy. I met this cat person in a restaurant.
One of the matron mothers you haven't heard from like pounds the table and is like, do you think this is a joke? And all the guards like get even more like aggressive and they're like pointing their guns, like maybe touching you in the back with them.
I mean, if it's anything, it's not a joke. I got into a disagreement with a goddess. I spoke to Karen Solie on this orb. Do you know how nonchalantly she spoke to me? I thought I would speak to a goddess. Like, we met Yandala that morning, and it was prestigious, and her wall opened up as a vision. And then and she's not actually motioning because I guess she's handcuffed, so it's like 2 hands up. And then we spoke, we met Miska, who, very nice guy, by the way. Did not expect that. Very helpful. Spoke to Karen Solie, and she said she might speak to Loth. And we got the GPS that we found in the cave, and we checked it out, found a blip, thought we'd come and tell someone we spoke to them. That's why we're here.
And another one that matron mothers is like, are you here for a reward or something? Like, why are you here? Like, what are you seeking?
GPS, bleep, bleep. We showed up to the bleep, bleep.
Did you hear the board part? He said,
yeah. And then
the board, yeah.
The one with the GPS is just like, did you not figure where you're going? Did you not think where this led?
The
Obviously
pink was
not.
cute.
New ship. Wanted to check the ship out. Had a bleep bleep. Followed the bleep bleep.
And the one who originally spoke to you is just like, we can't let them leave. Like, they know where we are now. They have our coordinates.
You're a spaceship. You're obviously moving.
Yeah, and you can just see like whatever persuasion roll you had must have like left 3 days ago because like
oh no, here you go. Oh, 25.
Yeah, I mean, I think your intent was still to piss them off.
I'm like, no, I'm just confused. So I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, because like if anybody has not led on to this, Elisar is not a very smart half drow.
Wait,
so
what?
he's just a very charismatic half elf drow. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's what we did is what we're doing.
And as you're like explaining this, the middle elf that you haven't heard from will like interrupt you. And she'll be like, I know what you guys did. Lolth has spoken to us. We know that Karaslee reached out. We know that you finished the mission. Our question is, what do you want from your future?
Well,
I'd like to not run anymore, Wick says.
Yeah. We're looking to restore the balance of the gods, same as you.
And I just butt in. I'm like, I don't know if you've noticed, half drow. I'm just lost in this world, just lonely trash elf, me and Craig just wandering, and I think that I'm okay with that as long as there's some kind of purpose to life.
And the guard behind you with his gun, like, takes it from your back and then like pokes you in the head, and he says, "Who's Craig?"
Craig, just a lizard.
Yeah, and he's like, "What lizard?"
He's on the ship. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and you see like him look over his shoulder, and like two guards leave out the back of the bridge. And they're like,
I mean, I'm like, what? Don't hurt Craig.
And I think like the middle one hearing Peg is probably the only one who like said anything that was like okay. They look at Wick and she goes, "There is no not running in this world." She's like, "Do you have any ideas what is happening?"
A little bit of an idea, and then she explains just what she heard about Siranati and how her place in the weave had been disrupted, and that there was a force that the leaders of the gang, the what were they called?
Which gang?
The Aarakocra gang that Wick was a part of.
The ones who like control the secrets.
Yeah, the gang of Siranati.
Yeah, the eyes.
The eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The eyes were freaking out because this new force that they didn't understand had stepped in. And then she further, I don't want to run anymore because I realized there is no place to run to. This is everywhere. You guys are a part of it. Yandala's a part of it. The eyes were a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with her. We need to help find balance somewhere.
And then
even if it's a new balance.
As you're explaining this, the purple fire that was like in the middle of the table goes out. And what you see at the base is that black liquid that they had used to talk to Lolth through the bowl. Like it's that same kind of viscous, gross material. And it starts to ripple. And what you guys can all see like in the middle are these faces that are just like circling in and out. Just like all different races, all different people.
Like the door in the cave of the shapeshifters?
Yeah, and it almost feels identical to that. And they're like, they look at you and they're like, the world is completely off balance. The gods have gone into hiding for the most part. Yondala left her planet and is in hiding. Karaslee isn't doing much to help us at all. The Lolth, the gang of Lolth is the last wall to defend the weave. And she points down to like the pool, and she's like, "There's a new god, one birthed from Tech, who has taken all of the power of realm space and beyond." And then she goes to explain to you like gods get their power from worshippers. So if a god's worshippers get less and less and less, they get weaker and weaker and weaker. So Yondala had a whole planet of halflings that worshipped her, right? So her powers are pretty okay. Lolth probably has some of the most power because her followers don't only have a bunch of numbers, but like their devotion is more than anyone else. But all the other gods, like even Lathander, who the space station was named after, like all his followers now kind of worship the ring and like worship all these things that they're building and that they're putting in themselves to make themselves better. In this like diversion of attention to the stuff that they're making, a new god appeared, one who's like way more powerful than Lolth even at this point. And the matron mothers all start kind of getting stiffer and maybe more like attention. And the the leader points to it and is like, that's our goal, is to destroy that. Is this something you guys actually want to do?
I think it has to. This is, whether we want to or not doesn't matter anymore. We're here, and we got farther than your adventurers.
Are you saying that kind of like in an insulting way? Because it kind of comes off in an insulting way.
Maybe more in a braggadocious, like, we made it back to you.
Yeah, gutsy.
Let us continue to help.
Yeah, and as you say that, they're like, all right, we're going to send you back to the cells as we figure out what's going on. This will require quite a level of sacrifice.
Oh, I don't know that we have any other choice. Makes total sense.
Yeah, and as she says that, she like turns around and heads into the bridge, which is like behind this little conference area you guys are meeting in. And then the soldiers all kind of like start ushering you back to the cells.
As they start pushing me, I say, sorry, I just saw guys rush off. They're big brawly dudes. They were pretty huge. Is Craig okay?
And they're like, we have no idea. And they just,
can we figure that out real quick for me? No?
Yeah, and they're like, no.
This place sucks.
It's not great when you're a criminal.
No.
So yeah, they're gonna kind of usher you guys back into like another like kind of multi-day rest period.
Okay.
Where they're gonna try to figure out what they can do with you.
Immediately upon entering my jail cell, I completely am so confused by all the scratches on the wall and have no clue what game I was in.
So like you leaving the cell, you went out of madness, and now like are you reflecting?
I walked in, I was like, what is even going on? I was like, but there's something here, and I immediately tried to start deciphering it.
I like it. I don't have to make the puzzles for this one. You make the puzzles yourself.
Alistar's mind is his own puzzle.
Yeah.
I feel like that's true. You know, the real friends are the puzzles we made along the way.
So yeah, at this point, maybe through Wix communication, and we can do this kind of meta if you don't want to do it role playing. Where are you guys at mentally, and like your buy-in to the mission? Like, what if the job come with something for you to do? Like, how in are you? I think that's something that you would all have to be like talking together about to like, kind of circle back type of thing.
Personally, I'm very concerned about Craig and very unconcerned about whatever else we're doing.
Maybe during a meal, they like slide your food under and you start yelling at them like, how's Craig?
Yeah.
And they let you know that they just left it in the ship.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? If he's good, then I'm good.
Yeah,
he's got food.
But as long as Craig can come, we can go anywhere.
But when you get back, there's going to be a mess in that in that storage area.
No, Craig is very tidy.
He poops in the corner like a ferret or something.
Nothing you've done to explain Craig makes you think he's tidy.
No, he's very, he's wild and absurd, but he's keeps tidy home.
This is feeling more autobiographical, like as we every episode.
An autobiography of Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Dan's poured a lot of himself, not into LSR, but into Craig.
Yeah, LSR just exists for Craig. Yeah. Honestly, I can't wait for like our last episode where the guest is Craig and not a
robot. He speaks to you in a fever dream.
Make a buddy show spinoff.
Oh, I wish I was not an elf. That'd be great.
I think Wick has conveyed to both of them through mental is just that she's kind of along for the ride right now. Like her ultimate goal of finding herself in the universe kind of got pushed aside the second those tentacles killed the guards when they left Lathander's ring, and just taking it in as they go. And we're not sneaking off of this ship. So
Yeah.
And also we kind of have to have a level of diplomacy, like make as many friends as we can where we can in order to solve this issue. So I'm in.
Which that even given her last interaction with the leader of these people is not Wick's strong suit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just falling in line. But there's not another way to really escape right now. Especially after the VR disaster, which still sits on her head.
You're a champion.
I think like another interesting aspect is this idea of like who you're quote unquote partnering with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe especially Peg. Like how does, like, I think you understand like you need to do something even if it fell into your lap. Like there's this time. Yeah. But how does it feel to be possibly partnering with the Drow? And like the way they treat you, the way they treat like almost everybody.
I think you can still work together. It's better. It's kind of like the thing that's like better to have them as your friend than your enemy.
Sure.
Is kind of how she's thinking about it. Like we're not going to be besties, but it's better than them working against us, especially as powerful as they are.
And LSR being, interactive with Craig a lot is also kind of fading because he saw that his unapproachable kind of interaction with people early on wasn't getting himself anywhere, and he does kind of desire to be a more powerful being and from his depravity as a trash elf. So he's saying, well, I can feign this existence with Craig, even though obviously there's a deep love, but can kind of coax that out while kind of just being he's okay being the annoying trash elf for now. But he does see that these drow elves are probably the direction to be gaining more power in the universe.
So you see it almost even like a way to benefit yourself, not the world, or
yeah, it doesn't care about the world. Elevate myself out of trash elf status because you want to get out of. It's
because you got that little bit of taste of fame with the rodeo.
Dude, I'm salivating now.
Oh, those dice really ruined you.
Whereas to me, I feel like I don't know what other leads we have. I don't know how to talk to the other gods at this point. So I'm going off the lead that I see.
Makes sense to me. Wick kind of in the same boat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. So I think that's where we're going to end this session. I am going to work hard to get myself together a little bit more, and we'll get a guest next time and start what could possibly be your next missions and see where those gnomes are, because you guys haven't seen them in like a week. No, they're fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you everyone for listening.
Armin will never be the same again.
Yeah, he's gonna have all those guys. If you guys thought you had emotional scars,
holy smokes!
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening. Especially thank you to the people who support us on Patreon. This month's sticker is going to be the art that Not Cool Co. Lauren Rubin drew for us. You can't see it a little bit if
Master of One
from Lauren Rubin from Master of One, and Not Cool Co. Drawer of all things nerdy. She did a really great series of Bad Batch, the new Star Wars show. So you can go check that on her Instagram.
She has so much cool stuff. She guested once and I bought too many pins from her.
But yeah, if you guys back us at the $5 or $10 tier, you always get monthly stickers. And this month will be all 4 characters drawn by her. So thank you for everyone who already does that. You guys help us cover all our hosting fees and everything else that we want to do. And then if you guys want to support but can't financially, just share it with a friend or give us a review on iTunes. Both of those would be huge helps to getting the show spread. We've seen a lot more watchers or listeners the last couple of weeks. So thank you for everything else you guys have already done. I'm Will Churn. You can find me at Noble Folk Design. Courtney, you want to start us off?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Courtney M. Leach.
I'm Dan Churn. You can find me at Dan Churn, I think, on Instagram.
I'm Zach, and I am at ZS Wilkinson on everything.
And Dungeons and Designers is a M of One podcast. You can go see their other shows like The Drawing Board. I believe it's called, with Doc Reed. Mm-hmm. And then their weekly show where all three of them, go speak about all the nerdy pop culture stuff that we all enjoy. So go follow the Masters of One podcast and go check out all the shows that are under their network. I think that's everything. Bye. Bye. That's another episode of Dungeons and Designers. Intro music is by Mon Plaisir. Editing and animation was done by me, your friendly DM, Will. Find this and more in the description.